Episode 7 Artemis, the boundary of the soul.
Most people, when they think of Artemis, they imagine a female hunter, a lonely virgin running through the forests with a bow. But this image hides one of the most powerful ideas in Greek philosophy. If Apollo is the solar intelligence that reveals truth, Artemis is the lunar intelligence that protects the soul itself. She is the guardian of the boundary, the force that keeps us whole. She is the inner sovereignty that refuses fragmentation. So in this episode, we uncover Artemis as the cosmic law that preserves the integrity of the human being. Lunar twinship, the inner mirror. Artemis and Apollo are twins for a metaphysical reason. Apollo is the outward light, the illumination, the structure, and the sun. Artemis is inward light, it is protection, boundary, and she is the moon. So the moon does not generate light, the moon reflects the light. And ancient thinkers called the moon a reflection, light that comes from elsewhere. And this was not only astronomy, it was also psychology. The mind, the nous, illuminates, but the inner world reflects. But a mirror can distort if it is unprotected. And Artemis guards the mirror of the soul. Without her, no Apollonian clarity can ever enter. No truth can be received by a fragmented self. And this is why no one receives Apollo without first understanding Artemis. Plato's three etymologies, the hidden doctrine. In Plato's Cratylus, Socrates gives three interpretations of the name Artemis, and each reveals a different layer of her metaphysical nature. 1. Artemis, the whole, the unbroken. From Artemis we have intact, unharmed, not divided. And Artemis is the inner unity of the soul. It's the part of us that cannot be corrupted or split. She's the guardian of wholeness. 2. Aretis istor, the knower of virtue. Artemis knows virtue in the sense of knowing how it is formed. This is why she protects the young and presides over the minor mysteries of eleusis, the preparing stage in which the human being organizes their centers before approaching deeper initiation. And she governs the formation of character, the shaping of the inner architecture that must be stable before illumination. 3. She who rejects the plow, the metaphysical virgin. The plow divides the earth, opens it, and makes it receptive. And Artemis refuses the plow not out of hostility toward fertility, but because she refuses division. And her virginity is metaphysical, the soul that remains whole, unmixed, and self-protected. The undivided self is the only self that is ready for mystery. Artemis in the Greek world. Pausanias reveals something striking. In Sparta, he describes the shrine of Artemis or Thea, which is the goddess who sets upright, who straightens, who strengthens the moral spine. So, a deity that is tied to the formation of young citizens, the upbringing of character. In Messenia and Laconia, she appears as Artemis Limnatis, the goddess of marshlands, the in-between spaces that are neither land nor water. a goddess for liminal states. Wherever identity is vulnerable, Artemis stands guard. The bow and arrow, precision in defense. Apollo's arrow reveals truth, and Artemis's arrow protects it. So her bow is vigilance, and her arrow is refusal. Every time you say, no, this cannot enter my inner world, you are invoking Artemis. Wilderness, the unowned core. Artemis rules the wild because wilderness symbolizes the part of the human being that belongs to no one. Not to society, not to expectation, not to even one's own ego image. She guards the untamed, the sovereign core of the self. Apollo is truth as order. Artemis is truth as sovereignty. So Apollo tunes the universe and Artemis protects the being who experiences it. Spiritual intelligence has two sides, clarity and integrity. One without the other is incomplete.
Artemis and the measure of love. There is an ancient Greek saying that in one sentence carries all the weight of this episode, and you will recognize the first half. Αγάπα τον πλησίον σου, μικρά ελαττούμενος. Love thy neighbor, while diminishing yourself only slightly. This single phrase contains the entire law of Artemis. Remember, Artemis is Artemes, the intact, the whole, the goddess who refuses fragmentation or division, the protector of the boundary or limits, self-sufficiency and sovereignty of the inner space. That is to say, the ethical form of Artemis. I love without losing my wholeness and my integrity. Love without self-erasure. Relation without fragmentation. In the Greek world, virtue is never self-annihilation, it is measure. Artemis teaches the boundary of love, the limit beyond which giving becomes loss of self. Where love destroys integrity, Artemis automatically withdraws her protection. And remember, we are not speaking about a mythological figure, we are speaking about a principle. The force that guards inner integrity, the law that sets the boundary of the soul. That force is called Artemis.
Inside each human being, Artemis manifests as boundaries, autonomy, refusal of manipulation, stability under pressure, inner self-possession. Whenever you guard your time, your energy, your values, your identity, you are acting through Artemis, who Artemis truly is. Artemis is not a forest hunter and not just the moon goddess. Artemis is the law of boundaries, the intelligence behind the formation of virtue and the guardian of unbroken identity, and the metaphysical virgin who refuses division. She preserves the inner world so that the inner world one day will awaken. That's why she is the protector of the children. Next time we will explore Hermes, the guide between worlds, the mover of meaning, the god of thresholds and transformation. Where Artemis protects the self, Hermes connects the self to the universe.